Hello everyone, and as we have done a quick overview of the Greek and Egyptian, we're now going to go into Norse. So we're going to start, we have Thor, Odin and Loki. We'll start off with Thor. His benefits are dwarves and armory, the majority of it. You can build armory in any age with cheaper improvements. He also gives you 2 extra improvements in the armory. So you've got the normal one, the copper, the bronze, the iron, but then he gives you the Hammer of the Gods, the Meteoric Iron Mail, and the Dragon Scale Shields as well, just to help improve all your human soldiers that little bit better. So his human soldiers are stronger than most others. You start off with 2 dwarves. So dwarves are usually things that gather gold. They cost gold to make, and they gather gold very fast in comparison to other things, but they are bad at collecting other resources. Thor narrows that gap to the point where I don't know if it's equal to gatherers or better than gatherers, but it makes it less, demanding on gold. It makes it less, what am I trying to say? Because it makes it it's either equal or less than gatherers, but it means that you're not relying on food to make gatherers. However, what you are doing, which you aren't doing in the others, is that the way you get favour as Norse. I should probably do a quick overview of Norse. If you've yet to see the cinematic thing about them, let's just have a look. So this is the Norse tree. So you've got gatherers, which are essentially villagers, and dwarves. So really good at gathering food, really good at gathering gold, and just things. They don't build buildings, though. They build infantry. Infantry build buildings. You can get offsocks from any age. So you're not restricted to waiting until the classic age with just heroes. But they do, that's how you build buildings. You use your infantry too. The heroes, the hussars, they can build buildings, but they're slower usually. That are building buildings. They also, the way they gather favor is they do it by attacking. So use your human soldiers to attack enemies. Myth units don't get favor. Only human units do, I believe. Hussars are. They do provide a very, 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 very small trickle of favour. So if you never fight and never hunt, because hunting also gives you favour, you will still get them by having loads of hussars. They just are very, very slow. Apart from that, that's pretty much all the same as the other ones. But we'll go into the more specifics now. So I think that's everything for Thor. Yeah, so he gives you the God Power Dwarven Mine. It gives you a mine that is really good for dwarves to mine it. However, the later you wait to use it, so if you wait until Mythic Age, you get 6,000. It starts off, I think, 500, 1,000, 3,000, and 5,000, depending on the, or 6,000 even, depending on the age. So it's you see the AI use it very quickly. Don't use it very quickly. Use it later on because you'll get more benefit out of it. So it actually is really, really good. He also gives you pig sticker. So Thor increases villager attack and gather rate for hunted animals. So hunting animals is definitely good. We'll go with Odin. So Odin is the benefits of the hill fort. The hill fort is where you get, it is essentially the Midgard stronghold of the Egyptians. It's where you get the other units. So you've got the Longhouse, which produce Orthsarks, Throwing Axemen, which are a ranged unit that do hack damage. Raiding Cavalry, and of course heroes. You can produce heroes there. But hill forts give you counter archer, elite cavalry that are good against myth units as well. Battering ram and ballista, and also the new unit that was added was an archer. This you will never see in the campaign because they took it out. This is a later unit that they added. So human soldiers regenerate damage. So you don't need healing in it as much, even though you do get access to the Valkyrie to heal. It just means that, you know, they're essentially heroes, but they regenerate slower. Respawning ravens helps scouts, so it's like Pegasus's, but free, and you get 2 of them. Hill forts units have more hit points, and villagers hunt faster. I'll just take a little sippy of my drink. So the villagers hunting faster, or the gatherers hunting faster, is really useful because Great Hunt is there. So Great Hunters target a group of enemies and multiply their numbers. Only one Great Hunt can affect a particular animal. So it can double or it can increase the deer that you have, or the... I don't believe it works for herded animals like sheep, goats, or pigs. I believe it only happens for hunting animals. So, and obviously depending on the animal and how much food they provide does depend on how much Great Hunt is. Also gives you Lone Wanderer, which is it imbues Ulfsucks with the spirit of the Lone Wanderer, increasing their speed so they can just run around the map. Ulfsucks used to scout as well as the ravens. So that's Odin. And then Loki, the trickster god, and one of my favourites. So his benefits are Herses myth units. So Herses summon myth units on their own in combat. So that means attacking. It does not cost you any favour. They just spawn. The interesting thing about that is it doesn't have to be either the Hammer Troll, the Einhaja, the Mountain Giant, the Battle Boar, or any of these. It doesn't have to be any of these. It can literally be any myth unit of the Norse campaign, or of the Norse things. So it can even be Valkyries. You obviously can't upgrade these, but it can be. So if you went for Heimdall, you can still summon trolls with Herses. You can't control when they do it. They could happen all at once or not at all. So, yeah. Myth units cost less favour, which is really useful. Ox carts are cheaper, faster, and weaker. Ox carts are how the drop-off sites. So instead of building a granary or a mining camp or anything like that, you can just build an ox cart and they move around. So they're really good for hunting and they're really just useful. But having them move faster, because they are quite slow, is really useful. And having them weaker is not a problem as well, because they're not supposed to be in combat. Longhouse units train faster. So the Ulfsarks, the Throwing Axemen, and the Raiding Cavalry, it does not affect the hero, the Herses. It gives you the ability of Spy, which is target an enemy unit secretly and see what it sees. And Eyes of the Forest, Loki improves the line of sight of infantry. So, now it's time to talk about the minor gods. So, we've got Foresty, the god of justice. He provides you Healing Springs. Healing Springs is a controllable place where essentially the same as you can control pigs and sheep, you can control the Healing Spring depending on how many people are around it. So if your enemy gives you healing, puts a Healing Spring up, you can just take your soldiers, go over there and claim it as your own sort of thing. It also gives you access to the Troll. Slow but strong myth unit. He also, I believe, regenerates, but it's at a very slow rate. Gives you access to Hammer Troll, which increase the hit points, range, and attack. He gives you Hall of Thanes, which increase your Herses speed and hit points, and also makes your Ulfsarks more resistant to hack attacks. Or you can go with Heimdall, which gives you access to Undermine, which destroys enemies' walls, towers, fortresses in a very small area. The Einhajar, I believe I'm saying that incorrectly, but I don't know. It's a slow-moving myth unit that has the same benefit as Arkantos. It can give a boost to all the people in the area to make them stronger. Also, is good against buildings. He gives you the Elmhimnir, Castle. I'm going to butcher half of these things. Heimdall feeds the Einhajar from the cattle, increasing their hit points and attack. It makes your longboats have increased movement speed and hit points, and also makes your walls, towers stronger. and makes your towers cheaper. So you can kind of be a little bit more defensive. Considering the Norse is a very aggressive civilization, Heimdall makes it a little bit more defensive. So it's if you prefer defensive players, Heimdall definitely is that, but the Healing Spring does give you access to being more defensive as well. Longboats, actually, they can transport units as well. They're weaker than others, but they can transport it. Or you could go with Freya. So she gives you access to forest fire when you burn forests. It can damage units, specifically villagers, and also it destroys the trees so you can't use them anymore. So it's really useful at denying an enemy wood. My neighbour has a very yappy dog. You can literally breathe too hard and it yaps. So if you're hearing that, that's what that is. I think they just had someone come to the house. I don't know. I don't pay attention. We've got Valkyrie. Valkyrie is a what's it called? Cavalry myth unit. It's a warrior that can heal allied units. Freya also gives you Aurora Borealis, which improves Valkyrie attack and healing rate, and also gives you Thundering Hooves. It improves the cavalry speed and hit points. You've then got access to Njord, potentially, in the heroic age. Going up into the heroic age. He gives you the power of Wandering Woods. You can't control these woods, but they are pretty good. But they can sometimes just not attack. Gives you access to the Kraken. So Kraken is a naval myth unit. It can sink ships instantly with its special attack, and is quite good normally. Mountain Giant, which is a very hefty unit. It's a massive thug who crushes smaller units and smashes buildings with its club. Very, very strong against buildings specifically, but also against units. It has hack damage and crush damage. The crush damage is high, so it is more useful against buildings. And its special attack is better against buildings. And also, it takes 5 units. It's huge. It's got massive amounts of HP. It's got 1,200 HP. Really, really strong unit. Close. Then you've got the Long Serpent, which increases longboats' attack and resistance to siege ships. You've got the Wrath of the Deep, which upgrades Krakens to Trench Krakens with more hit points. Just checking I was recording, which I am. And also the Ringgiver gives your Jarls more hit points. You can also go with Skardi. Skardi gives you the access to Frost. Frost freezes units for a short period of time, but it does mean their hack armor and pierce armor are 99%, so you really can't damage them. So it's more like freeze them to prepare for something or to run away, or to stop them from attacking you, so you can move your unit, move your siege weapons, whatever. Frost Giant, this can freeze units with its breath as a special attack, but unlike its god power, it doesn't freeze them fully. So you can still attack them as normal, but they just can't move. So Frost Giants are really, really useful. They've only got 600 points. They're not as strong as the other one, but they are useful, and they are useful against buildings as well. You can get Rime, which improves the hit points and attack. Winter Harvest lets your farmers work faster, and Huntress Axe, which improves the Throwing Axeman attack. Throwing Axemen are really, really useful. Or you can go with Bragi. Bragi gives you access to flaming weapons, which makes your human units, siege weapons, and ships, their projectiles or their weapons burst into flame, increasing their attack. Specifically against buildings, but against everything really. Battle Boar, it's a myth unit. It's a very fast myth unit, and it attacks by, as it says, bucking all units around them, sending them flying, and they're startled for a second or two. Call of Valhalla improves Ulfsark's hit points. You've got Swine Army, which makes your Ulfsarks do extra damage to cavalry. They are good against cavalry because they are an infantry. And Thorisaz Rune, which brands myth units with the rune, improving their speed. So you've got a very fast myth unit, and you've got an even faster one. And then we have access to the Mythic Age ones. So you've got Baldir. Baldir gives you Ragnarok. It makes all your villagers and dwarves turn into heroes. It will stop your economy entirely. So this is very much a push, a final push for it. Gives you access to the Fire Giant. Fire Giant is a myth unit that throws projectiles, hurls fireballs. It does hack damage. The fireballs are hack damage. So they are. It's just as useful as throwing axemen. They are very useful. Also, it has a little bit of crush damage. It has a special attack which attacks units, and I don't think it attacks buildings, or if it does, it virtually doesn't touch them. He also gives you Arctic Gale, which increases a dragon boat's speed and resistance to hammer ships. Dwarven Auger, it enhances portable rams, improving their speed, training rate, and attack, and that really is huge. And Sons of Selfinir, which allows raiding cavalry to do bonus damage against archers and throwing axemen. You've got Tyr, I don't know. Fumblewinter. So Fumblewinter freezes, or doesn't freeze, but it creates ice all around enemy town centres and sends wolves. You can't control the wolves, but it does show you where all your enemies are, and also can disrupt their economy for a little bit. The most glitchy of all myth units is the Fenris Wolf Brood. So the myth unit that the stronger that they get, the more units, the more of these myth units you can get. That's why they're so cheap. The stronger they are. They're quite weak on their own. They're 15 on their own, so they're okay, but they work together if you have, like, they've got to be close together. But unfortunately, they can be close together and it not increase their attack. They are very glitchy. But they're good in numbers, and they're quite cheap as well. Jormund Elver is a myth unit. It's a sea serpent that sprues venom onto ships. Berserker Gang improves your Ulsarks, improving their attack and hit points, and also Bravery, which means the Huskarls do more damage, especially to buildings. Huskarls are the counter archer. And then finally, only available to Loki is Hel. Hel is one of the best Mythic Age gods of all time. If you're going Loki and you don't go with Hel, then you must have a clear plan in mind, because Hel is the strongest of all of them. She gives you access to Nidhogg, which is a flying myth unit that breathes fire. It does crush damage. It's a very, very powerful myth unit. Also gives you access to Fire Giant, Frost Giant, and Mountain Giant. All three of them she gives you access to. So the incentive is to not go with Njord, is to go with Bragi, but also you can go with Njord for Kraken if you'd like. She also gives you access to Rampage, which makes your myth units trained almost instantly, so you can create a massive army very quickly. And also improves the hit points of your Frost, Fire, and Mountain Giants. So she makes all of these stronger. So Hel is a very, very important person, god to favour. So, apart from the new archer, which actually changed a lot of the Norse game, you didn't have any archers. The only ranged person you'd have is the throwing axeman. Because, yes, you've got trolls, which are ranged, you've got fire giants, which are ranged, you've got, I think that's all of them. Yep, that's all of them. You didn't have anything else. So having this, and they do have 18 range, they only have 18. So they've got good range, so they are really, really useful, and they are not overpowered, which is the fear when you've got a brand new unit in. They are going to be massively unbalanced, but they are balanced. So it's good, but yeah, the Norse is a very aggressive civilization. Their defenses only go as high as stone wall. You can't get fortified. The towers only go up to guard. So you can get them up to guard, a watchtower, but you can't get them up to guard tower or fortified tower or ballista tower. It's literally a very aggressive civilization. You gain favor by attacking, so you need to be very aggressive, producing lots of sarks and throwing axemen and raiding cavalry and stuff like that. Very early on, and then doing lots of little attacks if you want to summon myth units. And the myth units are very, very powerful because you can't summon them as much. The maps to go with Norse, obviously, are the ones with ice on there. But they are quite versatile. You can't really be defensive with Norse, which is... With Greek, they are a perfect balance between aggressive and defensive. You can be aggressive, you can be defensive. Egyptian is a little bit more defensive, purely and simply because you've got access to Citadel Wall and Ballista Tower, so you can be a lot more defensive with Egyptian than you can with Norse. Norse is a very much hit it until it dies, and if it doesn't die, hit it some more. So I will be going through playing some games as Norse, and you will be able to see how I do and see the civilization a little bit better. For those of you who are wondering why I do those, I'm not saying I'm good at these games. I'm not saying I'm good at these civilizations. I am showing you the civilization in practice. I'm not doing it on high difficulty. I'm not a high skill player. Never claimed to be. Maybe I will in time, but it's all about just showing you the civilization in practice, because I feel like if you see it, you understand it more than if I just explain it. So I explain it in this one, and then you can see me play as Thor, Odin, and Loki. But for the minute, because I've got work to run to, if you enjoyed, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know about Norse civilization in the comments below. If you enjoy it, is it your favourite civilization? What minor god is your favourite? What are you looking forward to? Whatever you want to comment down. But thank you very much for watching, and I will see you, hopefully, in the next one. Bye, guys.